Hey everybody, it's Romania Black, and we are on volumes 21 and 22 of Seraph at the End, chapters 85 through 94. Last volume got pretty crazy. Yeah, the whole first progenitor has inhabited Shinoa and taken her over. Gurren has just decided, it's weird, Gurren's betrayal is under the guise to save them all, and we'll talk about that. And then Maharu's still influencing. Mika and Yuu, Mika's tried to rescue Yuu. We're getting more into Yuu's past and how he knows Ashura. And then Shinya's getting involved. It's just, and Credo's there. It's just, everything's bonkers, right? And the lines between humanity and these demons and these angels and vampires, they're all being blurred, right? So I did manage to finish volume 2 of the light novel before reading this. I did manage to read the second half of it. I want to say, when I get to the point where I'm talking about these novels, there should be a content warning for these, because this second novel, it got pretty graphic. Like there were F-bombs dropped and there was sexual assault. I was like, what is this? It was definitely interesting. And to see Gurren like become this demon, there's a lot of things that make more sense now. So basically Noya is the demon that is now inhabiting Gurren, and he has the horns and everything. That's Noya. And Noya was originally, in the novels, Noya was the demon that Maharu gave to Gurren, that she had been possessed by, that gave to him in the sword that he had. So she has Ashura, which is a sword that Yuu now has, and Gurren has Noya. And so we don't know anything about Noya's past. Noya, whether it was human or the first demon or whatever, we don't know. But we do know that Noya was this demon, and Gurren's whole shtick in the light novel so far, and I'm only through the second one, is that he's never been strong enough to do anything. Like, he's not been strong enough to save Maharu, he's not been strong enough to save his friends. He grew up, like, just basically knowing he was under the Credo's thumb, and so he gave in to this desire to gain power at the cost of his humanity to save his friends. And so we'll talk about the light novels when we get to it, but Gurren's character's interesting. But this whole betrayal thing is just kind of under this guise of he's going to save everybody. But there's still a lot of questions of, okay, well, you know how bad things got the first time around with the Seraph of the End thing and humanity being wiped out. So why are we doing it again? So there's lots of questions, but I actually unfortunately had a headache the last time I was recording this. I had a headache, and so I didn't get to, I still talked for like 40 minutes, but I didn't get through. I didn't use Whiteboard-kun in that one because I just wasn't feeling it. And I was like, no, I want to talk about it, but I didn't want to stop and record it another time, so I did talk through it. But the last volumes had lots and lots of backstory, and so I feel like the sad thing is we're close to catching up. We have this week, we have volumes 23, 24, and then 25 and 26, and right now volume 27 is covering chapters 110 through 114, and volume 28, we're only on chapters 116 in the current serialization. So once we get to volume 27, I'll make that one just a standalone volume, and then we'll be waiting until volume 28 comes out. So we're going to catch up pretty quick, which is kind of crazy. So, we'll see, right? But I am excited to get into this volume now that I've read the second light novel all the way through and see what we're going to get into. Like, what we're going to get into in volumes 21, 22. Things have been crazy, so how much crazier can we make it? But let's find out, shall we? Oh, and Ferid's great, so there's that too. But we're going to read volumes 21 and 22 of Seraph at the End, chapters 85 through 94, here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. So that was hell in a handbasket. What? No, which I was getting a little flustered there at the end because I was like, if Mika can't be dead. But then I'm like, okay, now wait a minute. I was like, Romania, wait a minute. Hold on. Because one, Mika and Yuu and Ashura and Ashura and Cruel and Noya became, Ashura and Noya became demons, and Cruel did not. Cruel stayed a vampire. And so I wanted to bring Whiteboard-kun up because there's a lot of information that was given in these volumes that I'm like, okay, we're seeing where things are kind of going off in their own ways, which is, holy cow. Okay, fine. And there's this big talk about like humans being weak, and that's their big thing. The humans' it's their greatest strength, and their greatest downfall is that they are weak. And so, but also demons are afraid of humans. And so it's very interesting. Like the power dynamics and everything in this is just off the rails. And so we need to just go through this. And then we find out that Mika is Mikaela, which is the first progenitor's child that was taken from him. Okay, and then Yu's just happy to be here. But Ferid, we got stuff on, I mean, Gurren, I feel like reading the light novels is giving me more on Gurren. I feel like the mangaka and the creator, they don't spend a lot of time internalizing Gurren because that's what the novels are for. If you read the novels, you kind of get an idea of where Gurren is. And so his actions make sense. He's doing all of this for reasons. And I've not read all the light novels yet, so I can't see it all the way through. I'm glad Shinoa's back to normal. I'm glad the first progenitor is sealed up and under control. Glad that's a thing. Glad we've got that taken care of. And the Noya. Yeah, so all of us were meant to become but failed. So trying to bring his son back. Okay. So there's a reason. So Mikaela there looks, it's the corpse of Mikaela. He looked like a vampire there. So it looks like he's dead, but... And that he was an angel, but what the fudge? So, old Sigu here. So old, what do you say here? They talk about you. Cruel is like, oh my god. Say Sigamadu. That name always escapes me, right? So Sigamadu, apparently, we'll get back to it, became a vampire. But also, okay, we need to break this down a little bit more because there's so much to this. It's like, okay, it's not just simple. So before we even get to before we even get into Siga, before we even get to them, we need to establish that there are humans, right? Okay. And that humans can become vampires. All right. That they can basically die. So basically they can die and become vampires. Simple enough. That's the lore that most Western audiences know. But then vampires, okay, vampires can die, quote unquote, even further, and can become demons, which is what's happening to Mika. He's died and he's becoming a demon. Okay. And then if they're black demons, they're the special ones. They're the specialties, right? Which it makes sense Mika's becoming one because he's kind of the reincarnated version of the first progenitor's child over and over again. Okay, so we've got that going on. But then demons can either be, it's like a two-edged sword. They can either be controlled by humans or they can possess humans. So it's like a two-way street, right? So we can possess humans through the cursed gear and do that. And I'm going to kind of put possessed, all right, through the cursed gear. But the humans can control them through the same means. So, okay, and they're super powerful, right? And the angels, we're just going to put the angels over here for now. We're going to put the angels over here for now because the trumpets, all that is its own thing here. I feel like the vampires are somewhat connected to this, and maybe the humans are somewhat connected to this. The demons obviously are not, but we don't know how yet. That's what somebody was saying in the comments, and I totally agree now, having read these volumes, it makes a lot of sense. They were saying that the author is like slowly trickling lore, like very, very slow. It's like an IV drip. They're giving you crumbs, little droplets of lore that start to pool up into a puddle, and then you start to get somewhere. And I'm like, oh, okay, so all is starting to connect here. So essentially, we'll go through all of our characters in this little pattern here, but that's the idea, right? And it was basically established in the novel how in the novel in volume 4, book 4, which volume 2 has books 3 and 4 in it. By the end of book 4, Gurren realized, or Shinya and Gurren realized, that Maharu had sensed the end of the world was coming, and that the world would not be able to be inhabited by humans because they were too weak. So Gurren kind of predicts that Maharu kind of, and the Credos and the Hroggies, not the Credos, the Hroggies, kind of foreshadowed that humanity would need to merge with demons in order to survive in this new world, which has its own host of problems, because you're merging with the dead souls of humans that have turned corrupt, right? Because they are corrupt. They feed off of desire. I mean, vampires just feed off blood, right? Because they're just one step from humanity. They just feed off the blood of humans. But demons feed off of, like, soulful things, like desires. They feed off, like, the soul. Like, vampires are just physical. Demons are like, this is like soul stuff. So it just gets deeper and deeper, right? It's bizarre. It's crazy. So we have Shikamado. We're going to start with them because they get brought up in the beginning of this volume. We have Shikamado, who became a vampire, but also looks angelic. Just going to make note of that. And then, obviously, Siga had to become a demon at some point, along with Azuramaru, because it is now inhabiting Shinoa. Okay. So, weird. They've just become these spirits that are inhabiting other living beings. It's the creepiest thing, right? And so then we have Yuu, right? And so, well, I guess we'll go with Ashura Tepes, who became a vampire, right? Because they were a vampire alongside with Cruel, and then became a demon, and now is inhabiting Yuu. Okay. And then I'll just put Cruel Tepes here. Cruel Tepes has only made to the vampire stage. She is not a demon. She is just a vampire. Okay. Then you have Noya. They said Hyunma. I think that's what they said, Hyunma. And he became a vampire like the others, but then became a demon. And then here's the thing that's kind of crazy. He is possessing Gurren, but also maybe, I'm going to put Maharu here, because Maharu also had Ashura, and so did Noya. So Maharu's kind of this special little case here, and she's now inside of Gurren. So Gurren's all kind of messed up. He's got two demons inside of him. I feel like that would be problematic, right? I feel like that's not healthy. So Gurren's kind of all messed up, and we have you in all of this. But we have you in all this, and then we have Mikaela. And Mikaela was the son of Siga. And we don't know the exact thing of him becoming a vampire. We don't know exactly how that's worked in this, but we know that he was, I'm going to put reincarnated, even though it's probably more of like a situation with you where he was just cloned and created in a lab. Reincarnated into Mika, who became a vampire and is now becoming a demon. For the record, the demon thing with the hand coming out of his mouth, nope, not having it. No, I was like, that's the most disgusting thing. The more we get into this series, the more I'm like, oh, they're not animating this. I was like, could you imagine watching season 1 of Seraph at the End, and you get to this, and you're like, what the fudge? Like, it just gets off the rails, right? So we've got all this going on. Meanwhile, we also have Saito / Rigger, who became a vampire, but then he's kind of a demon himself, isn't he? He's kind of a demon himself. He's got the chains, right? I'm just going to put with the chains here. So he's not totally there, right? And then we have also Ferid. We have Ferid and Crowley, who we get that whole thing with Mika dying at the end of the volume, and then what do we do? What does the creator do? Follow up with it? No, we go figure out what Ferid's doing. And as much as I love Ferid, I was like, why are we leaving now? But Ferid is interesting. Our poor boy Ferid, he's not having an existential crisis. He's nihilistic. And I was like, oh wow. So all this makes a lot more sense. Ferid is nihilistic. he sees no purpose in living. That's the problem. His curse is that he can't die. Ferid's like, I've tried to die over and over again. It doesn't work. He's like, I can't, it doesn't do it. But here's the thing. He probably could have died back when he fought Gurren. But at this point, he's lived so long, he's like, I've got to see whatever this is through. But it's funny because he doesn't see any point in existence. He doesn't see the point. He doesn't know the purpose. Yu's purpose and Mika's purpose are each other. And dear God, it's canon. They love each other. It's as canon as it can get, right? But man, little baby Yu. No wonder Noya was like, oh, we get to see you all grown up. So at this point, I'm just going to put out here that Yu and Mika have been either cloned or reborn for thousands of years. All leading up to this circumstance, making Mika a vampire, Yu a demon. It all coming full circle, right? It's all coming full circle. So it just the everything was as Asher and some of the others were noting. It's all aligned into place in this series. Like everything, the stars have finally aligned. So the whole plot makes sense because this is the time where all the stars have aligned for all this to work out the way that it has. It's interesting. But yeah, so Yu and Mika being with each other forever. Cool beans. But yeah, and you seeing Mikaela and thinking it's a pretty girl. Mm-hmm. And Noya just kills him then and there. And then he just poofs. And he's like, well, never mind. Don't worry about it. They'll just make a new one. Interesting. So then and it seems like Noya was wanting to get rid of Mikaela. Like wanting to get rid of him. Like they're all... Siga's been creating these vampires over and over again to try to get to where he can bring his son back, and it's like, yikes. But Gurren, old boy Gurren, you know what, I love you, but you are so gullible and naive. I'm like, I was like, he just keeps coming back to life. I'm like, you sweet, naive summer child, run. like Mika was like the voice of reason in all this. And so at some point, Mika can see Maharu. Everybody can see Maharu. Maharu's not hiding herself at all anymore. It's pretty crazy. But she's a demon. It's fun times. But it's funny because Maharu wasn't a vampire. She just kind of got possessed by Ajiramaru or Noya. So she was never a vampire. So she's not like a full demon. She's not like a true demon like Noya and Ashura are. Interesting. So yeah, they established that when vampires... Here's the thing. They established that when vampires die... We're going to come over here. When vampires truly die, they become demons. And back when this series started, I thought that they became like 4 Horsemen of John. But no, that's not it at all. They become demons that are kind of like spirits in a sense. They're like spirits and they can possess humans. And it makes sense why they're scared of humans because they need humans to survive. They need humans to live, to give them a body. Otherwise, they're just kind of just there, right? They don't really have any as much power, maybe. I don't know. Cruel said the thing to Yu that basically if they didn't get out of there, Mika was going to attack him to try to like feed on him. So to feed on something and get power. That makes sense. Okay, but I'm guessing based on how Noya and Ashura are, they've not lost their memories. They don't become new beings. They still remain the same personality. They're just demons. So they keep aspects of personality and can regain memories. So they just kind of become like really powerful ghosts, basically. Super powerful ghosts that can possess you. That's it. So that gives me a little hope that maybe Mika, the problem with Mika is that we don't know with Mika, like, is this demon version of him going to revert back to like the original Mikaela? Like the memories of the original son of the progenitor, if it's going to go back that far, and then Yu's going to have to show up and be like, Mika, remember me? And that like reverts him back to normal. That's the thing that I don't know, because Noya and Ashura were not clones. they were just one-time people, one-time humans that became vampires. And after becoming vampires, they were made into demons. And so their memories and who they are is tying back to who they were as humans and as vampires. So that's fine that their memories come back. With Mika and Yuu, they're going back to like being cloned or reproduced over and over again. So their memories and stuff have been tampered with and experimented on. And we find out in the light novel, at the very end of it, that Yuu, Mika, Yoichi, Kimazuki, Mirai, they were all experimented on too. Now, I don't think that Yoichi, Mirai, and Shimazuki were way back 2,000 years ago like Mika and Yuu were, but that just also makes me so sad because it's like Mika and Yuu are soulmates. They've been soulmates this whole time. They've been with each other for centuries. And it's like they love each other and it's so damn sweet. I really got, and poor Yuu trying to help and save Mika, and Mika trying to help save Yuu. Ugh. It's like, I like Mitsuba and everybody, Mitsuba and the others getting back together. So we established that Mitsuba and Kimazuki and Yoichi and Shinoa are back together. The gang's all there. They go looking for Yuu. I want to make a note about Saito. We'll tie him down here. That Saito created the Hakuya sect, which did all the experiments, and Siga created the demon army, which is now run by the Hiragis. And Siga has been possessing the Hiragis generation after generation. Makes sense. And it's funny because in the novels, Saito and Siga, they were seemingly working against each other as the Thousand Knights, and as the demon army, they were against each other, but not really. So it's just, God, it's just bonkers, right? And so they think that Mariah's dead, and so they're like, oh, well, Gurren said he could revive her, and Shinoa's like, what the heck? Like, who do we side with in this? Why is everything so complicated? Like, who has the correct answer and who has the incorrect one? Like, my whole thing with Gurren is, like, resurrecting everybody, like, how's that gonna work? Like, in the novel, they establish that it really wasn't necessarily Gurren's fault that the Seraph of the End happened. It was something already planned to happen, whether Gurren was there or not. It's just Gurren had a hand in it, and I've not gotten that far to see it actually take place yet in the novels. But I'm like, so it was going to happen anyway. It's just Gurren revived his friends, which was the taboo. So I'm like, Gurren, how are we getting around doing it a second time? I love Mika's face. Mika just breaks. Mika breaks. When Yuu is sitting there and he's like, but Gurren is a friend. He's on our side. And I just love that Mika's face, I gotta get a picture of it, where he's like, are you joking? And I love that Mika's like, you know what? You're right! Mika learns the value of reverse psychology. Yuu is so dense. Our shonen protagonist boy, he is so dense that Mika's like, you know what? I can see this is getting us nowhere. I'll just agree with you. And then tell you that in order for this to work, we have to run. And then you'll fall for it. And he does! It's like, what? It's great. I love it. And so Noya being like, yeah, I'll help you. So Noya says, you might get that wish you desperately clung to for so long. Which is curious. And he says, I'm your demon. He's like, I don't trust you. So yeah, in the novel, the whole point is that Noya and Gurren have been merging this whole time. That they've slowly been merging into one being. And it's just a battle of who has dominion over the other. And so that's kind of established in the novels. But, God, and then of course even you can see Maharu. And he's like, And so Maharu tries to jog his memories back, and we get that shot of him in the cell. And it's like basically realizing that this is you over and over again. That he's been... But when he says, I have you, Mika, like that's his reason for living. See, that gives me hope that... That gives me hope that even though Mika is becoming a demon, that will give me hope that him and you can be together again, and that will be... I'm like, is Mika gonna merge with you? Is you gonna kick Ashiramaru out and let Mika in? I don't know. I don't know! Is Mika gonna possess somebody? How's that gonna work? How's that gonna work? Is Yuu gonna fall in love with whoever Mika possesses? Series, what we doing? And so, yeah, so they decide to do everything together. Gurren fights them because, of course, Gurren fights them. Why are we surprised? The whole thing about Cannibal Family, I really like that. That title is really great, Cannibal Family. And the idea that they're all just like, it's just humans and demons consuming one another. It is cannibalization, really. It's kind of creepy. But yeah, Yuu lets Azura take him over completely. And Gurren is just letting Maharu and Noya back inside of him. And I like Maharu makes the joke because in the novel she's all about getting with Gurren, and Gurren's like, don't get time for this. Not right now. But Mika protecting Yuu, oh my god. And then Yuu telling him he can drink. There is something, yeah, when you guys were talking about how sexual it was for the vampires to drink blood, and Yu's like, hey, stop, I need you to stop because otherwise I'm gonna die. And Mika being like, it was, and he's like, was it good? And he's like, it was really, really good. It's like, oh, come on. Are you serious? But him saying that he's like, if I'm not careful, I might kill you. So that's another thing that Cruel was like, we need to get out of here, otherwise he's not going to know how to stop. He could barely stop himself when he wasn't a demon. I hate the fact and the idea that Mika's died. I hate that. I want his personality to live on. I don't want Mika that we knew and loved to be gone. I don't want that. No! I don't want it. So yeah, Azuramaru. I like that Azuramaru, unlike Noya totally, and we get their personalities when they're vampires, but Noya seems to have no qualm with taking all of the power from Gurren and taking over him. He seems to have no qualms with it. But Azura seems to have some reason to him and some morality to him, which Noya said Azura was the strongest of them all. So that's interesting. He has seemingly the best willpower. And so Yu's like, just take over me. As long as you'll save Mika, it's fine. And Azura's like, no, listen. He's like, don't underestimate demons. He's like, we're friends. He's like, we're not friends. And so he tells him he'll make him into a demon, which he does for the moment until things get crazy. And we'll talk about that. And so I like that he jumps up into the ceiling and Mika's like, I'm not surprised. But yeah, and then we have this all-out battle. A lot of these chapters was just shonen, the whole 1,000 Blades, the Knot of Fate. I was like, is this Bleach? Did this become Bleach for a hot second? Because it felt very Bleach-like. It felt like very much Bleach shonen, which is not a bad thing. It's just when you're reading it, you're like, oh, that was badass, that was cool, and then you just kind of move on from there. And so, in any case, Mika figures out that Ashura and Yuu are working together side by side. And he's like, I'm not possessing you. You told me that we're half of us each. We're halfway there. He's like 50%. And he tells Mika his name. And Mika is able to connect it to Cruel, his sister. And is like, oh, okay. And so I like that Ashura says, Yu's yelling me to save you loudly. He says that you're family. And I love Mika's face where he's like, okay. I was like, Mika's little soft expression. Oh, I hate that he died. Gurren, why'd you kill him? Why? I'm just like, why did you have to do it? It's so sad. It's just like, I just wanted our boys to be safe. And we can't have nice things, can we? No. So after chapter 90 through 94, volume 22 is just madness. It's just insane. And Mika doing whatever he can to try and save Yuu. And meanwhile, Kimazuki and the others just coming there. And Gurren's just too strong. So now, it's interesting that they prevent Gurren from getting Mika with the vial. And so, at the same time, they also injected Mika. So, I'm guessing they injected Mika with the same drug. So basically, you have Yuu. We don't know exactly what Yuu is originally, but we know he's been revived over and over again, and he's kind of human, but he's also part demon. But he's not vampire. That's the only thing. But Mika is vampire, human, and demon. So that would be like a Seraph of the End, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? I don't know. It would seem like it would be. And then he gets Mika, and Mika keeps going all... And that's the thing. So the drug that Mika was given by Gurren kept amplifying his need for more and more blood, and it drained him dry, which turned him into a demon, doing the exact same thing that would have happened to a human, like in Yu's case with the drug. Okay, that all makes sense. But that whole thing where he's like, this ugly, pathetic life of mine, take it and vomit out every last drop. And he tells you that he'll save him. I'm like, why? And then Gurren's slicing him in half. I hate it. Thanks, I hate it, show. Series. I didn't need to see you crying over Mika's dying body. I didn't need it. I didn't need to see you begging for Mika to drink his blood so he could live and wanting to risk his life for him. Didn't need to see that. Nope. Nope. And him just saying he didn't want to be alone again. I didn't need to see that. Nope, not at all. Nope. And so then Ashura says that vampires who are starved for blood will die, vanishing from the physical world to become demons. So they do essentially, yeah, it said here that they vanish from the physical world. So yeah, they basically become spirits. They're basically spirits now that can possess humans. That's what it is. Okay. And so then, yeah, Yu is like, well then fine. Well, what that? But then Yu gets excited by that because he's like, oh well, he's like you, Ashura. That means he's not dead. He's just a spirit. He's a demon. He can possess a sword or something, and we can use him, and he'll be alive, right? And Ashura's like, okay. And Cruel's like, well, none of that's gonna happen if you die. So we need to keep you alive first for all that. I like that Cruel steps in, lays down the law, and she's like, no, listen here, dum-dums. We're doing this. Because of Mikaela. So we have that Shinoa is like, Shikama Doji is basically what Sigamaru has become. And she's like, will you be she or will you be this other thing? And it's she, which is the sealed version of Shikama Doji, which is fun times. Very fun times, the sealed version of it all. Because it has the eye, right? It has the eye that's all sealed up. I love the scythe thing where they just use the scythe to get everybody back in the Jeep as they're doing all the crazy turns. It's a fun time. It's great. It distracts them, though, for the time being. And so then we get back to Mika and his body dying. Ugh. And so then we have this thing where Ashuramaru says, you know, what do you want? And Yu admits that if he can't have Mika with him in his life, then he'd rather die. That he's like, I don't want to be alone. And I love this exchange where he's like, I don't want to be alone. And Ashura is like, okay, I don't want to feel this bad again. Who would? And he's like, I don't care. I just can't do any more than I already have. It's like, I know. And so he's like, if I can't save Mika, then I don't deserve to live. And Ashura's like, oh, you want to die? And Ashura, I like the speech that Ashura gives me, like, well, that makes sense. You know, you've had all this stuff against you and blah, blah, blah. And then, you know, if you die, your body's mine for the taking. And you, being the sweet summer child that he is like, well, if that'll help you out even a little bit, I'll be fine for it. I'm like, you self-sacrificing little summer child, what are you doing? And so then Ashura says, I used to be human, and strong humans don't exist. Humans were never meant to be strong, and that's not your fault. You can run away and it's fine. And so then I like that Ashura says, okay. And Yu's ready to say goodbye. Yu's ready to die. And I was like, are we really about to kill you? And then Ashura says, you know what? I'm going to tell you the last thing that Mika said there at the end. You really need to remember what it was. And that's why he said, I'll keep you safe. And Ashura's like, so do you really want to die? In his final moments, the reason he gave to keep living, you're going to ignore that and kill over and die, right? And that's when Yu realizes he can't do that. He's like, Mika loved you. Mika loved you. And so he's like, I love this saying here. Like, gotta open your eyes and look at the life you have. Watch Mika die to give you a reason to live. Watch closely with your eyes wide open. I love that Ashura says watch closely, and then Yuu finishes and says, got it, you empty, helpless little devil. Like, they finish each other's sentences, right? Because they're kind of merged, right? So it's so weird. Like saying, you know, humans have greed. It helps them find some reason, any reason worth clinging to life. Demons don't have that. And so Yuu's like, no, look, this is why we live. And so it's just like, oh, I love that it's kind of like, you know, connecting Cruel and Ashura together, but oh my gosh, this whole thing with the demon being born. And then Mika's still going, saying, don't cry, you. Oh, and then he closes his eyes, no. And then saying, you, I love you. No! Oh my God, why? Did not need that. Right here in front of my salad. How dare they? So then at that point, we go to Ferid and Crowley, the orphan prince. So Ferid being a prince does not surprise me. Choked on some spit. Ferid being a prince does not surprise me. No. He's totally a diva. Not surprised he's a prince. Makes sense. The fact that he's a little serial killer, not surprising either. So he was messed up from like a young age. And I love that he says, I'm perfectly normal. I've been normal all along. We'll talk about that. He does have this little exchange with Crowley where I was like, are him and Crowley like, they're not a thing, but I was like, get a room. Quit drinking each other. Quit flirting with each other and threatening to drink each other's blood. And even Ferid's like, oh, do you desire me now? I'm like, do I ship Crowley and Ferid? Maybe? I don't know. But Ferid's like, drink my blood until you nearly kill me. And he says, no, wait, actually kill me. And Crowley's like, I'm like, does Ferid want to become a demon? Is that what Ferid wants? Ferid just wants to die. He doesn't want to become a demon. He just wants his life to be over. But he wants it to be on his terms. That's the thing. He wants it to be on his terms when he dies. Okay? But there is a part of me that's like, where he hesitates there. He says, drink so much you nearly kill me. No, wait, actually kill me. And it's like, do you actually want to die, Ferid, or you just keep telling yourself that? But they get to Saito, who is about to die, and then we have the whole thing with Giles showing up. I thought it was another vampire. And that was it. But no, it was Giles. He's just shown up. And I like that we got that little backstory with Crowley. Like Crowley looking slightly innocent. And it's funny because what's happening with Crowley, what's happening with him is happening with Yuu. Is that Crowley lost the people he cared about the most. And now Yuu is dealing with that with Mika. But Ferid says, he's like, I gave you a reason to live, right? You lost all your friends, so I gave you a reason to live, right? And he's like, despite that. And then Ferid, of course, he gets into the whole existential philosophical side where he's like, thousands of years have passed and the world's still the same. Even the sky, whether it's black or blue, it doesn't matter. There's no point in living. None at all. At least that's what I thought I taught my son. And Crowley's like, no. So Ferid just wants to know what the meaning of life is. And I'm like, well, if you'd listened to Yu and Mika back like a volume ago, you would have found out what that meaning is. But man, Ferid being kind of creepy here. And then Saito saying it was a mistake turning you into a vampire. I love that. I love it. He's like, you were always abnormal, like killing his family. And Ferid's like, I've been perfectly normal, especially for someone who was second in line for the royal throne. So second in line. So he wasn't even first in line, which is funny because in even being a vampire, he's not first in line either. So that's curious. But that's so interesting that Ferid, he's like, no, I'm normal. This is, why am I abnormal? What makes me abnormal? How am I different than other humans, right? Just because I was caught? Like, it's interesting. And Saito's just trying to heal himself, but then Urd shows up. And with Kai Luke and Les Carr looking like the British Mafia. And I don't really consider Les Carr a threat. I don't. Les Carr is just kind of humorous at this point. Kai Luke is a little bit maniacal and a little crazy, so I would not trust him for a second. He kind of worries me because he's so crazy. But, like, Erd is so classy. He's just really powerful. And his sword does the same thing that Mikaila's does. So that's interesting. His sword does the same vine and thorns thing that Mikaila does. So I wonder if he was really in line to be the next, the first progenitor was trying to make him in line. Sigga was, and he just said no. I am curious how Ferid can keep getting sliced in half and nothing happens. That part is curious because we just saw Mika get sliced in half, but he had lost a lot of blood, so I guess that's the reason. Ferid has a lot of blood still, so that's how he can keep coming back together. But still, Ferid just gets all the philosophical lines in this, where he's like, the world is round. Wherever we are, we're always at the edge of the earth. He's like, if today is the day I get to die. But yeah, he just gets his head thrown, and that's pretty much it. He's like, there's no meaning to life and no point to death. All there is luck. And he's like, all there is luck. He's like, everything is lucky. And he's kind of right. Like, all the events, all the circumstances, like, half of it's just been luck. And he's like, that's the only reason we're getting by with half this stuff. Ferid believes that it's all by chance. There is no fate. Nothing has meaning. He just thinks that everything is by luck and fate and chance and you creating it. So him using the sinful key and the big slice down the middle to warp through reality. Fun times. But yeah, he's like, and his head comes off and everything. It's great. But then we get the scream coming from Mika becoming a demon. And I love that Saito's here is like, you're kidding. Asher Tepes, Cruel, Noya, Hienma. And then after all that's happened, and Ferid's just like a kid in a candy store. Ferid's like, oh my gosh, really? Something crazy's happening? Something that's not boring? He's like, my papa's betrayal, my insanity, everything today is still dancing on the palm of the first hand. Like, everything is still connected to Sigga. Interesting. And so, yeah, the vampires and the demons can hear the scream, but the humans cannot. Only vampires can hear it. And so Mahiru's like, it's beginning finally, Gurren. And so I like that that Noya's like, what'd you inject into the vampire? So that's the question. What did they inject into Mika? Was it what they injected into you? What have they been up to? Mahiru and Gurren have clearly planned for this all along since, like, what's the deal? And so then she says, don't worry, little demon. You like human desires. Okay. And so Noya, looking over to Mahiru. So Mahiru becoming a demon and all of this, interesting that she manages to, like, put herself back into Gurren. Interesting. And she says, all humans ever want are love. And then she knocks Noya out. The whole thing with the face, with his face becoming a giant hole. Nope. Not having it. I'm done with that life. I'm going to take a picture of it so you all get to see it because it's disgusting. The Discord can celebrate that. So yeah, so then we have the whole chapter about desire within desire. And Mika realizing that it's all a dream. Him and you and everyone being happy together. That it's all just a dream, the two of them. And it's so sad because at first I thought that he had died. He had literally died, and then it was just him in the afterlife. And I was like, okay, well, it's him in the afterlife. But really, it's like the demon inside of him is you. And you is like acting like the demon saying, well, you can just stay here and we'll be happy together. And Mika's like, it's a dream. He's like, it's weak. I couldn't save anybody. And in a lot of ways, Mika is a lot like Gurren in this moment. Mika's a lot like Gurren, where Gurren in the novels lamented that he couldn't save people, so he became a demon to save the people he cared about. And Mika in this case is no different. He's like, I couldn't save my family. I couldn't save you. He's like, I left you when you were about to become a demon. Like, I couldn't be there to protect you. And then you saying we'll still be together for 1,000 years, 10,000 years, forever. He's like, it's possible here. If you want it, if you choose to become a demon who devours human desires. I love that he just like turns black. You'll be able to stay with me and we'll be together inside a world of happiness. That's what you want and what I want. So the question is like, if that's just he just wants to be in his head with you, like, but that's not really you talking, right? And so then we see him with the angel wings, like we've seen Siga have, and like we've seen the Seraph of the End have. So but it's not fully there yet, right? Because when we see him at the end of chapter 94, he doesn't have the angel wings. That's all just in his mind. So, what the hell? I feel like we'll get more answers in the next set of volumes, but still, I do like the chapter Hole in the Sun, that the image is of him in the black, holding the black cat, which is bad luck. It's fitting that Yu's holding it because Yu has had the bad luck of being like killed over and over again. How dare they? And so in the dark ages of Greece, Ashura shows up and Ashura knows exactly what's happened. And so Ashura's like, so this is interesting where Siga says, the sun shines bright with its blinding light. And Ashura's like, now that I'm a vampire, I can't say I like the sun that much. And Siga says, I don't either. Not since they blamed me for their crimes and made me into this and killed my beloved child. So there's more so something has happened to Siga. Of course, Siga has probably a tragic backstory. So the question is, who did what to Siga? What's the deal? Who did what to Siga? Why'd they kill Mikaela? And then Ashura's like, your child? And he says, I'll make my own sun. A dark, dark, dark black sun. Which is a demon. Ugh, it's so creepy seeing it come out of his mouth. Disgusting. And Cruel's like, we're leaving. I don't like the whole thing of like all the veins and stuff and the lightning and it coming out of its mouth. I just can't imagine it animated. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be so gross. And finally, I love that Cruel is like, look, he's turning into a demon like Ashura, and then Yu's like, well, that means that I can save you. No matter where in the world you are, I'll find you and save you. So wait for me, okay? I'm like, you. So it's just like, it's all over again. Only now, instead of Mika promising to go out and find you, it's you promising to go find Mika. I'm like, oh my God. And its hand twitched towards you. Oh my God. I love that Cruel's like, I just want to talk to my brother. And so finally, Yu's like so dense, he's just worried about the fact, he's just thrilled with the fact that Mika's not dead. And Cruel and Ashura's like, okay, wait, we need to, back up. I need to talk to my sis. Interesting. And that's when they run into Shinoa and the others. And so, interestingly enough, as soon as he pops in and sees all of them waving, the demon fades, and he gets with Shinoa and them. And I like that Cruel's like, now wait a minute. And then he looks over, and Ashura is beside him. And that's the first time that's happened, right? So, okay. And then we see this demon coming out of Mika. What the hell? Okay. Why not? So yeah, so that's volumes 21, 22. I do like that we're connecting more of what the demons actually are and how they came to be and how the whole thing works with them possessing humans. Like, it's been, you just kind of had to, when you started the series, just accept it at face value. But the more that we read and the more that the author gives us little tiny drops of the exposition, I'm like, okay, cool. That works. So yeah, it's fine. So yeah, I'm very curious to know your thoughts down below. Please no spoilers, but I'm excited to see where we go to from here. So we'll be looking at volumes 23 and 24 next week and just see. I'm nervous about this demon that Mika is becoming. I just hope that if it's not, I don't anticipate it immediately having Mika's personality. I don't. But I don't know what that's going to be like. And I just want you to be able to reach him and for Mika to come back. That's all I want. That's all I want, right? So we'll see. So in the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back very soon with more Seraph of the End. Bye.